Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am so happy to welcome Edlira Durmishaj. She is the president of Forum of
Peace Organization. Okay.
Sorry. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am so happy to welcome Edlira Durmishaj. She is the president of Forum of European Muslim Women. Today she will be speaking on the subject role of women in building dialogue. So without further ado, I welcome the speaker, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Mr. Abbas, I feel very honored to be part of this topics and discussions about women. Thank you again for making me part of this mission. Today we're talking about, I chose to talk about the role of women in building the bridge of dialogue in society. First of all, I would like to mention that this lecture comes as a modest contribute of discussions and topics organized by the World Council of Muslim Communities on the occasion of International Women's Day. Every time we talk about women and girls, we have in mind that we're talking about half of the society that educates and brings to life the other half. We often bring in mind the famous quote, the African quote, which says, if you educate a man, you have educated an individual. But if you educate a girl or woman, you have educated a nation. In this slide, we want to discuss an extremely important role of women in the transformation of society. For the very nature and qualities that women has, such as patience, gentleness, intuition, and wisdom, they can design and be essential and even primary elements and communities the impact that women can make in society. We cannot ignore the culture, the customs, the stereotypes, the prejudices that society nurtures in our lives. Beyond that, women with the qualities embodied in their beings as life-giving, as mothers, they used to manage to face, to endure the brink that just a minute. To bring the final fruits and products of their ideas, their attitudes for the human being and for the community. The first person from whom we receive the messages in lives is exactly a woman. So she is the master of designing the dialogue as a mother, as a wife, in family, as friend, as a professional, and lately as a politician. In fact, they are the first politicians in the world since their genesis. But what is the reality and actually in the wider social landscape? In Islam, there is absolutely no difference between men and women as far as their relationship to Allah is concerned, as both are promised the same reward for good conduct, as the Quran says. And for women are rights over men similar to those of men over women. Women in the Quran are important characters and subjects of discussion in the stories and morals taught in Islam. Some of them are portrayed in a positive light. We can mention the name of Mary we find in Quran as a whole chapter in Quran. Women in Quran are represented as either the mothers or wives of leaders or prophets. Of course, they retained a certain amount of autonomy in some aspects from man. When God created man from the earth, he created him with 100% masculine qualities, while the woman was created from the rib of man, so she had in her genesis masculine and feminine qualities. In this order, she can be for most of sure as an agent of change. But this must be a mental decision that every woman and every girl have to make. And in order to make this decision as a mindset, she has to be clear with herself where to focus on. Dialogue is a key to humanity and is a key to humanity's future, managing life's increasing cultural diversity. And this cultural diversity is rooted in the history of our society, enhanced by globalization. In a democratic manner, has become a priority in recent years. There are numerous inspiring examples. Christian women in an effective peace movement in all over the world, whether working with their own faith communities or engaging in interfaith dialogue. Women are often among the first to engage in peace-building efforts. In order to make this new generation as mothers, because in family is the first impact we can make and we have to make, we have first of all teach ourselves and our girls and our children and our family what is the purpose of this life. And there are a lot of different roles that we play in life, but there is a main goal, a main purpose, why we're actually here. And to answer this question, we have to take a look to the message of God in the Quran, where it has been mentioned very clear our purpose in life, as Allah says, and I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. But referring to this ayah, we have to understand what does worship mean, and we have to transmit this message to the other parts of the society, beginning from our family and after this, all other people. It is not what you do in the mosque, the worship. It is not only this. When you pray, when you fast, maybe it can be more and more that it can be time that you give to your community. It can be teaching. So it's a very comprehensive concept. We have to put God first, and every other thing will be easy. Our society is bombarded with a lot of concepts to worship. And we don't talk about religion, but we are referring about materialism. So we see people worshiping a job, and we see people worshiping money, and they worship happiness and power and themselves, unfortunately. And this is maybe what this society is telling us and our children to be involved in. This is the point where we as women have to make the difference and to establish the pillars of little actions that will lead to great impact. And we have to realize that we have to know, to love and worship God. And only after this, we will know how to love ourselves and grow ourselves to better people. This is the first step to measure ourselves if we're doing right our mission in educating the right generation. The true essence of the power is to influence rests on the ability to make the people cooperate with you. In this context, we need to make it clear that making changes means that having the ability to make people follow you, and to follow means to influence with ideas and wisdom, and to influence means to lead. We're not here just to pass the time. We are here to build legacy. As human and as women, we are here to make things happen, and we are here to make, and this is our lifetime, and we have to do our best. And we have to ask ourselves, are you really running at your full capacity? We tend to teach people a list of allowed and forbidden actions. And that is a big problem, because ultimately we have to teach our children to a higher purpose and give them perspective that what are they doing here, and how are they going to be able to live in this materialistic society without worshiping materialism. We have to give our children the tools to master this life and their communities and their abilities. And you have to own this life, but not allowing it to own you. Our principles are very clear in life, and our missions as women is to convey to society the community around us. It's very clear. There are only 3 sentences as messages from the prophet of God. Fear Allah wherever you are. If you do a bad deed, then do a good deed, and you will atone for it. And treat people with good manners. And these good morals are these that weigh heavily on the day of judgment. So when we talk about dialogue, we have to be aware that we're talking about intercultural dialogue. And the reason why I say that not maybe, but for sure women are capable as being agents of change is exactly their qualities as humankind. So women are the leaders because they are the first ones that are transmitting the message from mother to the baby. And as we grow up, this characteristic, these qualities, we master them more and more in life. I will just mention which are these points as topics, and after that I will return back to the intercultural dialogue. But I need to say to women that when we say that we are capable of designing the society, you have to recognize to yourself that you can influence in the society. And in order to influence this, you must recognize to yourself these specific topics as above. First of all, you have to be aware that I will say it as a quote, and after this you can get the message very, very kind to yourself. They say the helm of the ship can be held by anyone, but the direction is indicated by the leader. So, of course, in your daily life, you will need connections, people to help you, but the mission and the object that you want to reach there is only you that can put this. And because the mother is in touch with the girls, with the boys, with the family, she's very, very intimate relationship with every day. She must tell to herself that leadership takes place day by day, not within the day. So being capable of being close to people, this is the very first and the main action of influencing people. So you have to recognize in yourself your character. Who are you? Your true change begins with knowing well the values that you represent. And you cannot forget that you represent the message of God in your daily life. You have to take care about the relations, about knowledges, about your intuition, and you have to enter in their minds and hearts. Experience is very important because people, in order to follow you, they will see what is your experience. What have you done in life? You have to know that experience does not guarantee reliability, but it makes people give you a chance to show that you are trustworthy. They will try to see what is your previous successes and what are your skills, because people need to look at what are you capable of doing. If you have a profession or if you have a hobby, or etc. And when we talk about knowledge and experience, we indisputably refer to the divine experience which we receive through the message of Quran. Examples, messages, and stories of the prophets in the journey of life. What we learn in absolute terms is the reason for our existence in this life. And we must not forget that we are God's representatives on earth. This is about what God wants us to do in life, and this is about the impact we want to make. When we turn back to intercultural dialogue, First of all, we have to underline that the message of Quran and our belief, our faith, is that we have to live together as equals in dignity. But how shall we respond to diversity? Because this is not very easy. What is our vision of the society of the future? It is a society of segregated communities, marked at best by coexistence of majorities and minorities with different rights and responsibilities, loosely bound together by mutual ignorance or stereotypes. Is this society a vibrant or open society without discrimination, benefiting all us, marked by the inclusion of all residents in full respect of their human rights? We as Muslims believe that respect for and promotion of cultural diversity on the basis of values on which the society is built are essential conditions for the development of societies based on solidarity. Quran gives us an intercultural approach, which offers a forward-looking model for managing cultural diversity. It proposes a conception based on individual human dignity, embracing our common humanity and common destiny, and freedom, of course, is our divine right on which life develops. If there is a Muslim identity to be realized, it will be based on shared fundamental values, respect for common heritage and cultural diversity, as well as respect for the equal dignity of every individual. And intercultural dialogue has an important role to play in this regard. It allows us to prevent ethnic, religious, linguistic, and cultural divides. It enables us to move forward together to deal with our different identities constructively and democratically on the basis of shared universal values. Intercultural dialogue can only thrive if certain preconditions are met. To advance intercultural dialogue, we have to raise a voice to the politician too, and there we should be adapted in many aspects. Democratic citizenships and participation should be strengthened. These intercultural competences should be taught and learned, as spaces for intercultural dialogue should be created and widened, and should be taken to the international level, of course. Freedom of thought, conscience, and religion is one of the foundations of the democratic society. The relation between women and men in the society is realized on the basis of reciprocal equality and dissimilarity. In mutual cooperation and dialogue, they enrich themselves and create the culture of dialogue. By their activity, women maintain the awareness of the whole education for what is important in family and society. Comprehension, contribution, and understanding of women in society have their similarities and differences. However, the genius of women is realized in both of these spheres, in family as well as in society. Fundamental value that women embody throughout the history of humankind is value of serving that finds its ideal inspiration and complete realizations in the path of life. Apart from that, women are essentially present in the open life society in many other ways, so it is necessary to recognize that they have been doing in society from its beginning. The poor valuation of contribution of women is building of culture of dialogue and cooperation is also due to depiction of women themselves about their own identity and mission. Therefore, women are called especially to assertive build the community by presenting their own proposals, views, ideas, doubts, and troubles. By looking toward the future, we are aware that active change in society will be brought especially by the young generation of women. Among priorities of recognition of contribution of women, we believe that it is utmost necessity to value their already active work in different areas. We see inclusion of women in the formation and upbringing of seminarians, lecturers, professionals as a possible change. This ought to be realized in a manner that respects integrity and distinctiveness of mission of women, and men that is being realized in society in different already existing ways, while offering new and creative suggestions and staying close to every human being. Peace, dignity, and respect for others are core values common to all of the world's great religions, and we as Muslims are proud to uphold these values, including through our work to build peace and empower girls and women as a divine duty. People place extraordinary trust in their faith leaders, who have a far-reaching ability to help achieve lasting peace and promote the status of women. As long as intercede hatreds and cultural issues remain, conflicts will simmer and women will suffer. Only when we achieve a fundamental change in mindsets can we realize true progress. Faith-based organization can be challenge prejudices and support the full participation of women in political, economic, and social life by refuting attitudes that smooth these inequalities. Women are often central of the life of faith-based organizations, and they possess enormous potential to promote conflict resolutions and peace buildings. At the same time, we must acknowledge that most of faith-based organizations are dominated by men, but this is an issue of culture that we have to work on it. More needs, of course, must be done to increase the presence of women in position of authority within faith-based organizations and to amplify their voices in peace building and interfaith dialogue. This will enable women to discuss and determine their religious and cultural values and to promote practices that respect human dignity. And in the end, I will finish this lecture saying that women have a voice and power to be agents of change. Thank you very much for your time, and may Allah reward you for all of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving an insight on the role of women in building dialogue, especially the intercultural, interreligious dialogues are the matters of the time, and women's participation in it is time demanding. Thank you.
Thank you so much.